Hey guys, it's Danelle from Painted and welcome to week 3 of our milk paint series. First of all, if you hop on, say hi, tell me where you're tuning in from. I'm located in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I know that you guys are located all over. I also hope today that everything is working. I was just telling Team Fusion that right before I hit the live button, everything looked different on my end, and I know there's always updates. So I'm hoping that things are working and I'm not sideways or anything. So if you could say hi and let me know things are good to go, I would love that so that I can proceed as well. I do want to let you guys know that if you missed week 1, lesson 1 or lesson 2, don't worry, you can definitely still catch that information. All you have to do is look on the videos tab and you will see both of those lessons. Basically what we're doing is we're building a foundation so that you can be confident to work with milk paint. We talked about how to evaluate your surfaces so that you know how milk paint will react in lesson 1. In lesson 2, we talked about how to mix up the milk paint, how to add the bonding agent. So if you don't want the chippy look, you definitely don't have to have the chippy look. And so you know how to do that. Sorry about that alarm if you guys can hear that going off. And today in lesson 3, we're going to talk all about coverage, so you know what to expect. If you do decide to order milk paint, you know how much you need. We're also going to talk about tannins and bleed through, because milk paint is going to work just like any other paint that you might be used to. If you have a surface that has knots and oils or redwoods, you definitely still need to block that stuff because milk paint is not going to prohibit tannins and stuff from bleeding through. So we'll discuss that. And we're going to discuss some of the different finishes you can achieve with milk paint. And at the end, I'm excited to show you what we're going to do next week, which I think is by far the most fun week, because we're going to actually paint and we're going to apply all this information that we have been gathering together, and we're going to create these awesome finishes. So you still have time. If you have milk paint, awesome. But if you don't have milk paint, you can definitely get some. And then you can paint with me if you want next week, because that's when we're going to actually paint together. I can see that there are people on. So if somebody, I don't know if I can see comments though. Sometimes what I've realized is while I'm live, I can't see comments on my end. But if someone could just say hi, maybe comments are working, I don't know. But I'd love to know where you're watching from. But I do want to dive right on in because I want to be respectful to your time and also to Team Fusion, because Sarah, who's helping me, it's dinner time where she's located. So I want to get started and get everything going. So what we're going to talk about right away is our coverage. Milk paint by Fusion, if you purchase a bag of it, it's going to look like this. And typically the coverage, and all this information I told you guys, you don't have to write it down. You don't have to remember any of it. The information is on the back of the bag as well. But there's always things to consider. So typically it says on the back of the bag that it covers approximately 100 square feet. Now here's what you need to keep in mind. Your color that you choose can impact your coverage, but also your painting technique. I talked about the tools that you use, because if you use that natural bristle brush, it soaks up more paint. Some of us are a lot heavy-handed. We apply our paint thicker. Maybe our substrate that we're going over. If we're painting over a surface that's super duper dark and we're using a bright color, such as Hotel Robe, which is like the whitest white in the milk paint line. Hey, thank you. Comments are working. Thank you, Fusion. Now I know. Okay. So if you're painting over, let's say a surface that's black and you're transitioning to a surface that's super light like white, obviously you're going to go through more paint doing something like this than if you chose a color such as little black dress and you're painting over a regular, piece of wood furniture that has like a normal dark stain. You're going to get way better coverage with a color like little black dress than what you would with a color like Hotel Robe. There are things you can do kind of to cheat, right? If you're using something like Hotel Robe, you can mix your paint a little bit thicker. You'll get better coverage if you add a little bit more powder to your paint ratio. That's one thing you can do. You can also use like a transition color. In the Fusion Mineral Paint line, we have a product called Transition. It's to basically save you on your paint, right? Well, if you want to save yourself some time, you could put a transition color with your milk paint, such as like silver screen. Silver screen is a nice light gray color. Actually, I'll show you guys. It looks like this. So this color, it's kind of hard to see with my lighting. It's like foggy today. This gray color is gonna make you do less coats of a bright white. Think of when you're regular painting. Using a transition color will save you on your coverage. Thumbs up if that makes sense, you guys. I hope it does. If you do have questions, pop them in the comments. I know sometimes I can't see them, but I'll definitely always answer them afterwards. Another tip is I like to save my paint by my technique. So if I know I'm going to distress something, instead of painting solid opaque coverage, sometimes on those areas that I normally would distress, I might just dry brush those areas, because why waste my paint if I'm just gonna wipe it off anyways? You know what, I'm gonna turn my camera so you can see. I painted with just a tester of Fusion's milk paint. So in their little, I call them testers, in the small size, there's about approximately like 5 tablespoons of paint in this size container. And with one of these, the color is, I hope I'm saying it right, Amalfi Coast. This is the color. I painted my masher, plus, bear with me on this. I'm gonna try to turn you guys. Do you see, oops, hello. Do you see this gigantic picture right there? So I painted this huge frame with that color tester, plus I still had extra paint, a couple like tablespoons left, but I knew I wanted to distress this. Well, I wanted the distress look, but I thought, why paint this whole thing and then come back and wet distress it? So instead of doing that extra work, I just dry brushed all this cool detail work and it gave it that distressed finish. So your paint can really get a lot of coverage depending on your technique. Now, last week, I didn't catch the comment live, but someone asked, are my samples, these, mashers and wood pieces, are they sealed? Or they said, are they the true color? And so, Fusion answered it in the comments because I missed it. All of these pieces have been sealed with like clear wax. So this is the color that it looks like once it's been sealed. This is the true color once it's been sealed. I kept this frame bare, so this is raw, just painted out, and it's been unsealed. So I could give it as an example to people, who would come in here and I can show them the difference. Now, you guys are far away, but I think maybe you can still see. It does deepen, the paint does deepen once you put the top coat on. But in case you guys missed that while I was live, all of these have been sealed, okay? So the color will always look more chalky because until it's sealed, it will look chalky and stuff, and you won't get the true color until you top coat it. Okay, let me just turn you guys a little bit and let's go back. So when it comes to coverage, basically what I wanted to tell you is think approximately 100 square feet. So if you were painting out one single layer, 100 square feet, but each color will have different coverage depending on your substrate. So what you're going over, is it a dark piece, is it a light piece? Also, what color did you choose? And your technique. Some colors are a little bit trickier to get that solid opaque coverage. I think this color, it's super beautiful. And I always say sometimes you have to put in the work to get that great color. And Aperol Spritz is one of them. Those really vibrant, beautiful, bright colors like your oranges and your reds, sometimes they just take a little bit more extra coats. So know that going into it. Totally worth it. If you want that rich, vibrant color, just know that you might have to put down a couple extra layers or coats. Okay? That's really basically it with coverage. If you have questions, feel free to pop them in. I can't see any on my end though. And we're gonna keep going because like I said, I wanna be respectful to your time. Next, super duper important, tannins. I've had people come talk to me and I always ask them, what's your surface? What are you painting? Because I think that's the most important thing ever. And they'll say, I'm painting a pine, whatever, pine dresser, pine bedroom set. And when I hear pine, beep, 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 my radar goes off like, we have to seal that stuff. And they're like, no, I don't care if, little spots come through over time, it'll look rustic. And I'm like, okay, but I want you to know what rustic might look like to you. So I have a piece in here that and it was an accident. I didn't want it to look like this, but I was being neglectful, and then it happened, and so now I keep it because it's the best sample ever. What'll happen if you're unfamiliar with tannin bleed is sometimes it happens immediately. So you're gonna start painting and you'll see streaks come through in your finish where it might look reddish, it might look brownish, ugly stains streaking through. And by nature, we just wanna, keep coating on more layers of paint, right? And hide it. It'll never hide it. Sometimes what happens is you don't see that tannin stuff come through until later in life. That's what happened on the piece I'm gonna attempt to show you guys. I painted a pine dining set, a table, and 2 long benches in milk paint, and it looked beautiful for about 6 months. 6 months later, this is what happened. Thankfully, it was always mine and part of like a display in here, but now it is the best sample ever to show people when they say, oh, I don't care what it looks like, that they will care what it looks like. So, I'm gonna do my best to hold it up to show you. If you don't know what we're talking about, you will now. So, do you see all these knots on the wood? If your piece starts like this and it has knots, those pine knots, over time, those bad boys will start to leach out their evil wood juice. And if you paint over them without sealing them properly, you see that big yellow streak? Let me see, right here, and I'm gonna hold it up so you can see it. It's everywhere, but that one is so noticeable that you guys should be able to see it from afar. This thing looked beautiful for about 6 months. You couldn't see any stains on it. The stains are everywhere. Some of them are tiny, so you're not gonna see them from far away. But that one's humongous, so you can see it. Obviously, my nice bright white paint looks like it has yellow, not burn marks, but ugly stains all over. I don't like that. Can I fix it? Absolutely. But I want to show you guys what I should have done the right way first so that that kind of stuff doesn't happen to you. Because even with milk paint, fusion mineral paint, any type of paints, you need to do it and seal those things in right the first time. And this might all be something you already know. But in case you don't know, now you will. This stuff, every painter, and I apologize it's backwards, I can't turn around the camera. Zinsser makes a product called Bin, and it is a shellac-based primer. What you need to make sure that you get is the word shellac on here, okay? This stuff comes in a can or a spray can version. Highly recommend you wear a mask and stuff when you're working with it, especially the aerosol spray version. It does have an odor, it does smell not the greatest, but shellac is a true barrier to seal in those tannins from bleeding in the future. You need to be able to put this stuff down in order to prevent that from happening. It might also take more than 1 coat. So don't think if you just put 1 layer down, you're good to go. You might need to put more than 1 layer down, especially depending on your piece. If you're painting a cherry, like mahogany dresser, you might need multiple layers. This is one option. Another option, but I want to say this with caution, is clear shellac. The reason I say this with caution is clear shellac does have a waxy substance in it, and what happens with a waxy substance is it can cause a crackle effect, which with milk paint can look pretty darn cool. So this piece was clear shellacked, then I applied milk paint, and with a little heat, that's how I create an amazing crackle finish, which I will teach you guys next week exactly how to do that. But clear shellac will stop the tannins from bleeding through. Personal preference, I love this stuff because if I want to distress, this stuff has a clear base and then I can still see my wood tone coming through. That first can I showed you is white. So if I wanted to distress that piece, the base of this stuff looks like a white paint. So please know that this stuff is white. So if I went to go rub back, I'm going to show white. That's why I love that second one. Now, if you don't want crackle and you don't want white, there's another option by Zinsser called Sealcoat. This stuff is the wax-free shellac. So you have to read your cans, guys. I do not know if this comes in a spray can. I've never found it in a spray can. This one does come in a spray can too. This one, the wax-free shellac, is not gonna crackle. However, if you hit it with heat in milk paint will always crackle if it gets hit with heat. Okay, another quick tip, never use, this is my opinion, people might disagree with me. I never use my beautiful, wonderful Stallmeister brushes with those products I just showed you. The reason being, those products are not just soap and water cleanup, okay? I save my beautiful brushes for my wonderful paint, like Fusion paint, my Fusion milk paint. I use cheapo brushes like this when I'm working with those type of shellac-based products. The reason being, they're hard to clean. You must clean that stuff with products like this, denatured alcohol, or like ammonia mixed with water. I don't want to do that kind of stuff with my good brushes. So just know that too, okay? My wonderful friend, Sherry from Furniture Rehab Bootcamp, she taught me a great trick, and I'm gonna pass it on to you guys. Instead of throwing away all your little chip brushes, she just puts hers in a plastic baggie, and they do become hard like a rock, but you can write shellac on them, and then if you soak them back in the clear shellac, it almost deactivates them, and now my brush is soft again. How cool is that? It works. I've tested it. And this is what shellac looks like, you guys. Okay? That is basically everything I want to talk about when it comes to Tannin Bleed for milk paint. You still apply the same concepts as what you would when you're working like with a Fusion paint, any type of regular furniture paint. It's still going to have that same type of effect. Milk paint will not stop bleed through. You need to stop the bleed through first, then go ahead with your milk paint. Hope that works for you guys. Okay, let's see. Ooh, okay, let's see, and we're doing great on time. Now we're gonna talk about the different finishes you can achieve with milk paint, and I think this is why, in my opinion, milk paint is the most versatile and amazing paint on the market, because you can truly achieve any look you want with this paint. The first thing that I love is you can use this paint as a stain, and it really looks like a rich, authentic stain. When you make it as a stain, you're basically watering it down more than what we did when we made it a paint. So when we made it a paint, we did equal parts, right? 1 part powder, 1 part water. That was our paint. When we make it a stain, we do 3 parts powder, 1 part water. That's the ratio I like to use. If you want, you can make a stain in any single color that you want. You could have pink stain if you want. To each his own. I like to custom make my stains. So for example, in here, I'll show you guys. Everything's gonna be, oh no, it won't be backwards because I couldn't turn the camera. So this right here, okay, I gotta read because I forgot now, it's been a while. I did Little Black Dress, which is our black color in the Fusion milk paint line, and Almond Latte. I did equal parts of those colors to make this really rich stain. And then I sealed it with, I think I did hemp oil. I'm pretty sure I did hemp oil over that. Because whenever I do a stain, I like to seal it with hemp oil. I think that really richens it. We'll talk about finishes in our last topic, but basically, I like to do any oil-based top coat over my stained effect. So this was just a pine board, and this is what milk paint looked like as a stain. Now, if you are like, I don't want to mess with mixing colors to get browns, and there's not really many brown options in the Fusion milk paint line, don't worry. Fusion's parent company, Homestead House, they have 4 amazing stain colors already made for you. You don't even have to think about it. They come like this. They're already done. Again, 1 part powder, 3 parts water. My favorite one is this one. If you're a sign maker, milk paint stain is an amazing option because it dries incredibly fast and then you can go ahead and layer on your water-based paint to make your signs, and you're not wasting so much time having to wait from my oil-based stain. Now I gotta wait, 2 weeks for that to dry so I can go ahead and apply, like my vinyl letters and stuff, and my paint's not gonna be peeling off because of my stain. This will be a game changer for a lot of sign makers. They can do things so much quicker. And obviously you can use it on furniture and stuff as well. So one finish you can do is definitely use milk paint as a stain. Another thing I love using milk paint for is using it as a wash. Obviously, you can use milk paint over Fusion mineral paint. Here is a sample board that I did in the color Hazelwood. Hazelwood is one of our new colors in the regular Fusion mineral paint line. And then I did a wash with the color, I think marble. Yes, marble as a milk paint wash over top of it. When I do my washes, I use that same ratio as a stain. I just like that 1:3. And if I want more of an impact, I'll just do more layers of my wash. Okay? So just know that you don't have to be like, I'm either diehard Fusion, diehard milk paint. You can do both on a project. So there's an example. I showed you guys in week 1, you can use milk paint as a wash over porous brick. It's an excellent option. See how it was kind of grungy and dark? I think this one was Hotel Robe. I should have labeled it. But it's great to option to whitewash porous brick. This one was Gotham Gray with marble as a wash. Right here. And another cool thing is some people like to almost use their wash technique almost like blending. So if you've seen people ever paint and they use like a mister bottle like this, you can apply your paint if you want in that same 1:1 ratio. But then in order to make it a wash, obviously we're adding more water, right? So if you have something like this and you just spray a bunch of water, it's diluting it, correct? Then you can blend your colors together, and that's technically making it like a wash. And when I do a wash, sometimes I just let the paint sit on top, the wash, and I let it dry, or I can blot it with like a lint-free towel, or you can slowly wipe it back. It depends on the technique you're going for. Now I have seen in the Paint It Beautiful group, people have asked, can you put a wash over a previous finish? Because we know that milk paint absorbs into dried out finishes, right? It's never gonna flake off like that brick. Milk paint over Fusion adheres beautifully to that too. We don't have to worry about adhesion with that. Now, when it comes to a previous finish, let's say it's a very glossy finish, like IKEA furniture. If we make it into a wash, I would say that's gonna be a risky move, man, because there's a high chance, just like our milk paint over that IKEA furniture, it's gonna chip off. But if we do a wash over a previous finish that's still typically dried out, I have found success with that. And I did a sample on that dresser that I'm doing for myself. I did it as a wash, but I'm going to end up painting over it, but I wanted to show you guys. I damaged my fingernail polish trying to scratch it off, so it definitely adhered. This is marble over a dried out paint finish, or I'm sorry, a dried out piece of furniture that has just no painted finish, and I can't scratch it off. It is stuck on there. So you can use milk paint as a wash over a finish that is, an existing finish. Just use it with caution, and I definitely in that situation tell you to do a test spot. And you're going to want to top coat that as well. You can obviously, I kind of hinted to it earlier, get a crackle finish, like I showed you. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see that. And then the ever so popular chippy finish, and also layered finish. So you can layer milk paint as many colors as you want. Keep in mind, you guys, this was just a pine sample board, right? I created a ton of different looks on this board. And right here, I didn't talk about this one. This just shows what it looks like with one coat of sangria versus 2 coats, just to give people an idea of how the paint really can look maybe not so attractive on that first coat, but give it time because it always looks so much better when it gets that full coverage. But my whole point of showing this board is that if you want mid-century modern, don't think that milk paint is only for the farmhouse chippy looking people. You can definitely get that sleek, smooth finish with Milk Paint by Fusion. If you need inspiration, check out Milk Paint by Fusion's blog. They have some amazing pieces that have every single finish you could imagine. They have mid-century modern pieces on there. They have farmhouse-ish looking pieces on there. Everything from crackled to layered to distressed to smooth and sleek. You truly can create it all. Next week is, in my opinion, going to be the most fun because all this information that we have been gathering, we are going to apply it. This little stool, it started off super rough shape, right guys? Looks like this. I painted half of it and I'm gonna paint the other half with you live. This is the finish we are going to do together. And it's a layered technique. And basically I'm gonna show you how to achieve chippy look, which is like the first step. So you're gonna learn how to use resists. You're gonna learn how to do one single layer of paint. You're gonna learn how to do crackle. Basically, you're gonna learn how to do exactly that. Because it's easy to just apply one coat of paint and get solid opaque coverage. Everyone can do that. That's pretty simple. But when you wanna start doing more advanced looking techniques like that, that's kind of like the more tricky stuff. So that's what we're gonna do next week. And then the following week, we're gonna do top coats, and that'll wrap up our 5-part series. And I hope this was beneficial for you guys. And I honestly just hope that it has inspired you to pick up a brush and try Milk Paint. I encourage you, if you have any questions, to please put a question in the comments and I will definitely follow up with you guys. But other than that, that is all I have for today. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.